Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Adam from Spirited Systems. And today I have Zach from Cana Provisions, and we're going to be talking about another one of his offerings. It's the H2Go, right? And he's going to kind of walk us through how it works, how it's packaged, considerations, maybe a little bit about the origin story, which I think is really probably the most interesting part for me because there's things that I didn't even know until today. So Zach, start us off. What is an H2Go?
So the H2Go, as you see it in these two forms predominantly, is a small electrolysis machine. It is a mobile chlorine generator. Electrolysis is you are charging two plates, an anode and a cathode, positively and negatively charged. You're putting a substrate between those, which happens to be brine solution, which is salt and water. When that current passes through the substrate, it causes it to break down, and it releases sodium hypochlorite, so NaOCl. That is the active ingredient in bleach. So this allows you to basically make your own disinfectant to add to multiple different volumes of water.
What I'm really interested in is this guy right here, because I know a lot of military guys will, especially from that 2006 timeframe, will recognize the Myox pen.
Yep.
So tell us about the relationship between the Myox pen and the H2Go.
Okay, so this goes back to Rodney Harrington and Aqua Research. So right around that 2000 time frame, there was a DARPA program out that Aqua Research and Rodney Harrington answered, and that was soldier system and soldier-centric water production. And this technology in particular was born out of that DARPA program. And so exactly what you were talking about when Cana first kicked off, I had guys particularly reaching out to me asking about these, the Myox pen, and saying, hey, are these a viable solution? Now, at that time in my life, I wasn't around this tech. Sure. And so I was completely unaware of this, especially because these were being produced via license by MSR in the Pacific Northwest. And so they were on a contract. It holds multiple different patents. Like those are all owned by Rodney Harrington and Aqua Research. But when that license agreement expired, they said, well, we're going to take some of the lessons that we learned from this, particularly the fact that these are very power hungry with the CR123s, which, for your military guys, that makes a huge difference as far as having interchangeability of batteries. That voltage source in particular for this system isn't very efficient.
Sure.
On top of that, they wanted the ability to store energy inside as far as having a rechargeable lithium-ion battery in here, having a solar panel that's built into the back of this so that you can deliberately recharge this without another power source. You have the salt storage in the top as well, which, this has some of it, but this has more than double the amount of salt storage with it. And then simple things like these little rubber grommets that seal and encapsulate everything off. The other cool thing, which is, it sounds kind of ridiculous, but the fact that this has a little flashlight on the bottom of it can be
that's handy, actually.
Really, really helpful. So the black label device was born out of the military specification. And the military said, we want 5 parts per million as our dose rate. And so that comes into play because the acceptable dose rate that is recommended by the CDC, the EPA, and the WHO is 4 parts per million. That on a daily basis, we're not supposed to consume beyond 4 parts per million of chlorine. Accepted by the WHO, suggested by the WHO, and used worldwide, 2.5 parts per million is more than enough to inactivate all the different little creepy crawlies and microorganisms in water the world over. So there's a little bit of a differentiation here. The Prime, which is the black label device, yields a higher dosage per volume, and it will only go up to 10 liters.
Okay.
Now, one of the things that we actually lay out in the water data card here for the H2Go specifically talks about how to deal with the black label device versus the blue label device. I selected the blue label device for a couple of key points. First, it goes all the way up to 20 liters. The second thing is at 2.5 parts per million, if I have rainwater, I have relatively clear running water, I don't need more than 2.5 parts per million. If I do not have to be consistently consuming a chemical, the less of that I can intake to my body, the better off I know that I'm going to be.
100%.
So with that goes, if you overdose in chlorine, you're actually going to induce the same kind of effects as if you had unclean water, as
Sure.
far as vomiting, diarrhea, nausea. Like, you're going to see a lot of those different things as far as even an altered mental state is concerned. I want to always use the lowest possible effective dose that I can.
Yeah, and so that requires that we're understanding the equipment we're using. I think one of the problems with the Myox pen is that we were essentially handed these, right? It was like, hey, here's a Myox pen, and you're like, oh, and then it was in the ruck, and we ran into a situation where we basically didn't have clean water for probably 45, almost 60 days. In between that, 45 to 60 days, and we were running down to the Cana River, filling up every single thing we could, and then marching back up with it. And then we were using this Myox pen to great success, I would add, but the power-hungry nature of it wasn't as big of a problem because it's the U.S. Army. So we had, blister packs of 123.
Yeah,
Panasonic 123 is the classic. I mean, it's just very cool to know that the origin of this is the Myox pen. I'm very surprised by that, but I shouldn't be, I guess, because the technology is the same. Do you sell both versions, or you only sell the blue label version?
We are only selling the
Okay,
blue label
perfect.
version because of the ability to stack
Sure.
treatment if I need to. And so that's something that we cover here on the water data cards as well. So what we referenced in the last video, as far as talking about how much of a dose rate that I need based on my temperature, based on the clarity of the water, I can stack with this. I can dilute and I can cut it with the prime. There's nothing wrong with it. 2.5 is just a little more user intuitive as far as like, hey, I can add this or I can take away from it. The other big part of it is if I'm dosing up to jerry can size at 20 liters,
20 liters.
It allows me to select it and go with it.
Yeah, you don't have to do a double dose or a math problem
Right.
when you're tired and you haven't had enough to drink in a few days. Let's open it up and let's what's in it.
After you,
All right, I'll open it up then. We have one of the cards, which I think the education piece of this is the scariest part for most guys that we find. They're afraid of the water purification because it's scary, because there's the pH and the turbidity and all. It's just like, man, just put it on a card. I don't care. So we have the card, which is new
yes,
to how it's packaged.
This will come with every H2Go from now on. Now, this is the manufacturer's intended directions of use for it. This was produced in conjunction with Aqua Research, specifically with their permission. So Rodney had eyes on this. And so an important point is what we were talking about, how Adam had literally rubber banded his original instructions to the side of this, which we're going to come back to momentarily.
Which, in terms of instructions, these are good instructions, like the content, and they're not the worst, honestly, in the paper. But this is not going to last even one water purification cycle of doing mass production. Everything's getting wet. It's just not going to last. So I think the card is definitely important. And then inside, we obviously have the device itself, the charge cable, the brine bottle, original manufacturer included, booklet, things like that. But something that's different now from before is that you've repackaged our test strips.
Yes. And so that, again, was something that we reached out to Aqua Research after feedback and looking at was, how can we make this less obtrusive? And when it talks about going into a pack or going into a pouch or anything like that, how can I make this more user-friendly?
Yeah, smaller. I mean, this fits, if you have this in a GP pouch or something, it's just way smaller.
All of our chlorine test strips that are sent out, purchased from now on, will be done like this. There is nothing wrong with these. If you have the legacy version, there's no difference in the strips. It just has to do with how they're packaged and from a convenience perspective. That being said, if you're not using the chlorine test strips, I would encourage you to at least try them so that you're not using them at the last moment, the emergency moment.
Yeah, you can practice with this. You could use it. You can use the test strip. You can see how it works. You can charge it to make sure everything works. You can do a whole functions check on this. Let's just do like a real quick walkthrough on how to actually use this, right? Like, let's just talk through it. So I have my, let's say this is my container right here. And I need to sanitize this water that we've already pre-filtered. So this is a full bottle of pre-filtered water.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, are we dealing with clean water or are we dealing with slightly cloudy water even after it's been dosed?
Let's just say it's an easy target. It's clean.
Okay.
We have a great filter system.
All right. So shameless plug here. I can look at this printed on the side of the bottle and say, oh, I've got a blue label H2Go and it says I'm going to select 1 liter, add the solution to the water and shake well. So that's going to be an important point of this is you really do need to make sure that once you add any of these chemical treatments to your water is that you're going to shake or agitate that well. The second point to that is you need to make sure that you wait the appropriate wait time. So if your temperature is above 60 degrees, you can wait 30 minutes, a minimum of 30 minutes. But if your temperature drops below 60 degrees Fahrenheit, then you're going to need to wait 1 hour.
People make this mistake a lot.
Yeah.
They do. I mean, they really do. They just ignore with aqua tabs and all that. They ignore that there is a temperature setting on this, whole process.
Yep.
And as you can see, I showed up with nothing. I have nothing on mine. Like trash, dude.
So the brine bottle, you're going to want to pre-mix this. So what you can see here is I actually just have dry salt in here that's not mixed.
Yeah, so we have a salt fill line on the bottom, right?
Yep.
So it's telling us, it's taking the guesswork out.
Yep.
That's how much salt we're going to put in the brine bottle.
Yep, so you put salt all the way up to that, fill it with water. It's hot water is going to work better if you have the option. You're going to crack that guy open. You're going to add that solution.
Okay.
To the solution on the front.
So we're on this part of of the system, right? So we pulled that little plug out, and then we've added our solution. Now, how much do we put in there?
You're gonna bring it all the way up to the top.
All the way to the top.
Yep.
Okay.
Then at that point, you just click the center button until it lights up on the volume that you want, and then you're going to hold that down for 2 seconds. It's going to begin producing. Now, even in this case here, because we're dry running it, it gives us a warning. It says, hey,
there's nothing in there.
Smarty Pants, there's nothing in there.
Stop.
So it's telling you to add solution beforehand. So this also has a little indicator strip on the side that says, hey, add brine solution or your battery is running down. You need to recharge the battery.
Okay.
So on here, you actually have these nifty little pour spouts. For demonstration purposes, I'm holding it here. When you are doing this, this is a powerful oxidant, meaning if this gets on your clothes, if this gets on your expensive combat pants, it's going to bleach them. So please be very careful with that. Furthermore, if you get it on your hands, especially at the higher concentrations, it may burn. If you get it in your eyes, it could cause serious damage. So this needs to be handled responsibly.
Yeah, treat it, respect it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Respect
the water. Oh. Respect the bleach.
So on here, it actually has these 2 nice little pour spouts. Once the solution has stopped bubbling, you're just going to bring it up and boop.
Okay. So we've dumped the solution into the bottle.
Yep.
And now we're going to cap it off. Now what?
Now we are going to shake it.
Okay. So we need to agitate it.
We are going to agitate it, and we are going to wait somewhere between 5 to 10 minutes.
Sure.
And then, key point here, which is also referenced on the data cards, that you're going to break the seal on the top and back it off, invert the bottle for about between 2 and 3 seconds until you get a seep, a consistent flow of water out of these threads. What you're doing is you're back flushing the threads and exposing anything that may have been caught in the threads or in the cap that missed that treatment.
Sure.
So you're back flushing it and then sealing it, continue to shake it, set it. Make sure that based on your temperature, you wait the allotted amount of time.
Another product that Zach is releasing, start taking us through it. Tell us what it's about.
This is about taking the guesswork out a lot of it, and it's designed to make this much more scientific. It's designed also to make it much easier on you as the user and the consumer. It is meant to take all the math out, all the guesswork out, and provide you with clear, concise information for multiple different volumes of water that you have the math already done for you. It has reminders, it has guidance, and it has multiple different treatment methods for each volume of water. And the reason that we chose this format is at 4 by 6 inches, this makes for a readily available information set, but it's also not too small where you're I'm really frustrated at how much information is packed on here in putting it onto a medium that is water insoluble, submergible indefinitely in water, that it is flame resistant, that it is scratch resistant, that basically you can bend these suckers in half and you can still come back and use them. They're matte, they're UV coated, you can view them clearly under night vision without reflecting to the world that you're over there. And it basically puts all of this information at your fingertips.
So how many cards do we have?
So the initial offering, we are releasing 6 different cards. So the first is a notes card. So you're going to see this minefield looking crosshatch pattern, and this is for notes. So when you buy the kit, the starter pack of this, it's going to come with a permanent matte pen with a fine tip so that you can write along the front side of this for any number of different things. Now that will come off with just either straight acetone or with one of our little alcohol wipes. You'll notice that there is both a metric and a standard ruler along both sides. And then on the back, it has the basic reminders and steps for going through and working through your water. It also features a warning section and a common conversion table. The next one is going to be 1 liter. We also have 1 quart on there. So for you engineers out there, there is going to absolutely be a rounding difference there, but these numbers are calculated to work off of both of these different volumes. On the backside, it's going to include the sterilization instructions. So one of the things that's reminded on each one of these cards is you must assume that all water is contaminated. And if that's not your water container, you need to assume that the water container is contaminated. So if that's the case, what do I need to be able to clean my Canteen, my Nalgene, a 1 liter container? From that, we'll jump up to 1 gallon. And so you'll notice on this that there are multiple different treatment methods for each.
Okay.
Going from 1 liter to 1 gallon, it's a perfect example. I'm going to eliminate the SteriPen treatment method because I can't reliably treat 1 gallon of water with my SteriPen. So it has a slightly different treatment option plan, but it goes through all the different math for 1 gallon, as well as the sterilization instructions. We go to 3.5 gallons, which is the water brick or water cube type. So that's a lot easier to handle than a full jerry can being at 48, almost 50 pounds. Then we jump right up to the jerry can. Now you'll notice here, we actually go to 20 liters versus 5.3 gallons, US gallons. So there's a difference between imperial, British or Australian gallons versus US gallons, which is why it's denoted on here.
Okay.
Furthermore, when you're dosing at this volume of water, there's a big difference in 0.3 gallons. So if you're doing the math for 5 gallons of water, you're under treating, which is why it's laid out the way that it is. So we're going to see that information and the 1 liter moved on to the decals here in a moment. And then we have the H2Go Global Quick Start Guide. So this is for the blue or the 2.5 part per million device. This is made in the exact same form factor, the same color. It has the hole punch in it. That way you can integrate all of these things together. Now these cards will be sold as a pack as well as individuals. So if you already have your H2Go and you really want to get this H2Go reference card, these will be immediately available for individual purchase as well. So the next one that you're going to see is the Aquatab reference card. Now this is for the 49 milligram, which is the small Aquatabs that you see in all the products, all the small blister packs that we offer. Now on here, it gives you the reminder of all water is contaminated, always select the clearest water possible. It gives you some of those reminders, but just going into what we talked about as far as the dose rates are concerned, it shows clear water and cloudy water. And then as a reminder, like what your temperature is. If you are below 60 degrees Fahrenheit, you need to wait an hour. We're going to be including this with the new personal water tablet kit, which is an outgrowth blister pack of the Decon kit. This is just meant to be a quick reference guide. It is not intended to replace the manufacturer's included directions of use, but it's designed to help make it easier on you as far as doing the math, as far as, hey, what does this actually reference? What does this actually use? Like, how much water does it actually treat? Instead of being like, oh, it's 3/4 of a liter.
Yeah, we got more.
We have more. So take the 1 liter, the information off the 1 liter cards, and we're going to roll right into this decal. And so this is a UV resistant outdoor rated decal, and it is designed to say if you have a 1 liter container like an old Nalgene, and if you want to take all of this information and slap it right on that, put it inside a cabinet, inside a cooler, on the side of a water jug. For the 20 liter, again, we went back to that with a 20 liter. You can measure the differences, but what you can actually fit in the cans, and whether it's a LCI, U.S. government issue can, a Scepter can, which we're carrying as well now, or a Igloo can, or any number of the other ones. This was designed to fit on an LCI or on a Scepter on the spine, either on the front or the back of the long side of the can. And this gives you all the different information that's provided on these cards in a quick reference format, as well as combining some of the Rogers Rangers rules of standing orders for water reminders on the can as well. So it just puts all of that information right there on the side of the can.
And again, I can see how the application, obviously personally, but in the military, of having, putting these on all the cans. And it's just like, hey, you have a can, the instructions are on it. You're taking as much guesswork out as we possibly can. So we went through all of that. Now I have all of these bottles standing here, like a small army. So I'm going to grab, this guy and then this 1 liter.
All of this information that's found on the water data card or on the decal will be printed onto the bottle directly. We're going to offer these in 2 different colorways immediately out of the gate, but the narrow mouth will only be offered in the clear at the moment, unless you guys, as the customers and consumers, tell us that you want to see more narrow mouth bottles. And if that's the case, please reach out to us in the comments or email us, and we'll get started on another colorway. Point being, with these, you have all that information impressed on the bottle. When we get to the narrow mouth, we're going to be offering the gas mask caps that are compatible with the Avon M50 and M53
Perfect.
series. So those will be available with and without the caps, but that's only available in the narrow mouth. And for the much awaited and asked for 48-ounce tall boy, with that goes our titanium cup, for example, and you have, oh look, it's already applied, and you already have this. The great news is that all of these will still nestle with it. Why titanium? Not only its strength factor to the actual weight, the mass of it, but it doesn't interact with water at high temperature. Aluminum has been shown to interact with water at high temperature and actually leaches into the water. Titanium will not interact with water until you get between 360 and 400 degrees Fahrenheit.
I can't stress enough having some kind of cup. It's another thing that I think went out the window with the global war on terror. We stopped using mess kits. We stopped using we didn't cook our food, things like that. But again, something that is very important for one, you can actually use this as a sanitation method as well. But it is it's always there, good to have, and it is very light. So I will say the decal currently is, you can put it on this, but it's not made for this.
Correct.
Now, if you guys want, this is something we wanted to ask. If you want a Canteen specific decal, please comment and tell us below. That we'll give that. Zach will be reading every comment, so be nice to him. But yeah, we'll put it on here right now. You can see we just put a decal on it instead because it doesn't work. So
one thing that you will notice, our new packaging. So the important thing to notice, not just about the decals, but also about the water data cards. It is printed on each one that these were designed and manufactured, printed here in the United States. And our new packaging is all done here in the US. This being a transparent bag, you can not only see what's in it, but it doesn't matter what doodad that you have, whether it's water data cards, whether it's stickers, whether it's a pen, whether it's a phone for that matter. Use it for something else as far as storage in the field is concerned. You can easily seal these guys up and keep these as multi-use items. We have 2 specific offshoots that are now available out of this. And this offshoot in particular, which I'm going to have Adam go ahead and open and crack one open.
Okay, so I just pulled out 3 personal water purification tablet kits.
Yep.
That's what was inside of this. So this is going to be sold as a 3-pack.
It's going to be sold
Individuals?
individual 3s or 5s,
Okay,
the same
got
way
it.
that our standard are.
Okay, so for size reference, I'll just hold these up so you can see kind of what it looks like. All right, so we have this personal water purification tablet kit. It says enclosed 10 strips of 10 each. How many is that?
It's 100.
It's 100. We need an engineer to tell us. Aqua tabs, the 49 milligrams each version,
Correct.
right? Okay. Cana Provisions Aqua Tab quick reference card, trademarked by the way. Manufacturer's recommended directions for use. Can I open this?
Yeah, that's
All right. So I'm going to rip this guy open. Oh, nice. Okay. So we have our data card.
Yep.
So then we have a individually sealed pack in here, and this just contains our brick of
Yep.
Aqua Tabs. So we have the card, we have the Aqua Tabs inside of a sealed package.
Correct.
And then you can buy these in different increments, or you can buy them individually. So great. I mean, I love that. Again, you know, for years I've been buying like this, and then I have to take it and package it some way and figure out the instructions. And every time I try to read the instructions on this, I'm like, why is this? Maybe a container I've never seen in my life, but it does not work well. So it's great that it's going to include the data card with it.
Yep.
Just make things easy.
And part of the outgrowth of it is exactly what you're just talking about, the directions. But we have people at every single tusk or otherwise rip this open to just get out the water tabs. They don't need anything else in it. And
Yeah.
this is meant to be, like we discussed, the last line of defense. So in an effort to save this on your body, we rolled this out. So this is the one that's intended to be used
Yeah, this is a
over
consumable.
and over
Yeah.
and over again.
Yeah,
So
this
when
is
I'm-
an actual consumable, and I can see, like, again, you know, this, I keep these stashed uniform pockets, things like
Yep.
that, as part of my kind of E&E kit loadout. But, you know, you're right, just the functional, if you know you're going to be operating in an environment where purification is necessary and you're going to be moving a lot and you're going to have to use a lot of these, then, you know, you just have these. Great for unit issue as well,
Yeah.
because you can buy these in bulk and you can hand them out, and it has the instructions for, you know, I hate to say it, but the lowest common denominator, right, is going to be able to read this and be like, okay, this is how much I need to put in my whatever container I have. So what's next?
So next
Water
one,
Christmas again.
the water Christmas, exactly. What we have here is the rehydration kit.
All right. Open one of these guys up. So again, these can be purchased in increments of 1 or 3 or 5 or
Correct. Or there's going to be an option where you can
you
buy
can mix it
all 3 of these things together.
if you're feeling adventurous.
It's a choose your own adventure.
Yeah, it's a Goosebumps book. All right, only 3 people are going to know what that is. So let's take a look. Personal rehydration kit, 5 oral rehydration solutions, ORS packets included inside. On the back, we have instructions, and also everybody. I know everybody watching out in our comment section, because we ain't a bunch of soy boys. Soy free on the packaging. So there's one guy who's like, I
So they're
like
heat
soy.
sealed. Again,
I'm dumping it out.
I want you to dump it. I want you to dump it because there are 2 things in there that are going to dump out of there.
Yeah,
that
so we got liquid IV, tropical punch. Oh, we got a spread. All right, hold on. Let me describe all the flavors to everyone. Are they going to be the same spread every time?
They are not.
Oh man, that sucks, dude. If you like passion fruit and you're getting it, maybe. All right, so I'll tell you what I got though. Passion fruit, golden cherry. I don't even know what that means. Strawberry, tropical punch, and lemon lime. All very tasty flavors. Why is it important though? Let's talk about this. Why is this even a thing?
Okay, so when it comes down to rehydration, this is a much deeper science, but there are a lot of way smarter people than me that
Sure.
look at this, but they look at it from multiple different angles, and one of which is making sure that you are continuing to get electrolytes back in your body, and that's not just a little sugar push, but it's getting calcium, magnesium, potassium into your bloodstream. Now, on top of that, as silly as it sounds, this goes a lot further in providing just a little bit of morale boost.
100%,
So,
yeah.
when I was in Africa with Engineers Without Borders, I lived off the Gatorade packets like that.
Yeah.
In my bag, I had a I don't even know how many that I brought with me. That was the thing that, especially after working in that heat,
Yeah, it's tasty.
that it makes a huge difference to be able to sit down and have one of those. And sometimes being able to do that makes an enormous difference.
Especially after you just nuked your water with some delicious aqua tabs.
Or H2Go for that matter.
H2Go. You just took pool water and now you're drinking it. Yeah.
Or classic iodine tablets.
Yep.
So
they
all
taste
of those
terrible is what I'm trying to get at. It's nice to be able to mask that flavor every once in a while. You won't be able to always, but you know, sometimes like, hey, I don't want to taste the pool water right now.
So it makes an enormous difference. These are a little larger packets than typically what you're going to end up seeing.
Okay.
So there are a lot of different offerings that offer packets that are a third the size of this.
Okay.
But when you look at the recommended directions of use, they're say add to 8 ounces of water, add to 12 ounces of water. So what we find is even these say add to 16 ounces of water. But personally, what I have found is what I tell people is add it to taste. These, generally speaking, one of these going into an entire Nalgene bottle makes an enormous difference.
Yeah.
So this is also a WHO approved oral rehydration therapy solution. And so that was one of the other things that we wanted to hit in this is whether or not you agree with the WHO, EPA, CDC or not, they do have a set of standards. And so when we're doing something like this, just whether it's a shooting standard or not, establishing a benchmark that things are measured by is an important thing to do in the scientific community. It's why we use controls. So that being said, we selected this for that purpose. So you can see the size as far as how it stacks up compared to the standard.
I'll hold this one up for you.
Thank you.
Look at that.
But there's one other addition in there that Adam poured out on the table that you're playing
I'm
around
playing with that. I just interlinked them. My bad. Hold on, let me get them.
So what would you use those for?
These are paper clips, and I generally use them to bind documents. Yep. What would you use? Why are they in here? Tell us.
If you do have a 16-ounce bottle of water, whether or not it's a Nalgene or otherwise, and you decide that I need this to go a lot further, once I tear this open, and I add part of it, and this actually came from a customer, so thank you very much for this excellent idea. When I want to seal this thing off, a simple paper clip that we can roll this guy back over and paper clip this off, and then having the resealable pouch for me makes a big difference, because I don't know if you've ever done this, but when you either have one of these that's partially open or you got a soupy mess of something and it gets all mixed in, it just creates a terrible situation. So once you get this taken care of, you're done with it, slide it back in your pouch, seal it up.
Perfect.
And you're off to the races.
I would not have guessed that's what the paper clip is. Also, you mentioned the World Health Organization. Judging by our comment section, they're probably not going to care. And they're, I don't know. Are they lizard people? Because tell us below in the comments if they're lizard people. First 10 people to tell us if they're lizard people or not can buy one of these and have their oral liquid IV delivered to them.
Do I need to make little lizard people stickers to put on the outside?
You should make a lizard people discount code maybe just for this video.
That's not a bad idea.
All right, so
this applies to the UN as well.
Yeah, so there will be a lizard people code specifically for Cana Provisions. But if the World Health Organization is watching and you would like to purchase bulk amounts of these for the third world or the first world, we have problems. Flint, Michigan, right?
Yeah, Flint, Michigan.
So we've talked about the kind of these new offerings, and we also talked about lizard people, but we also have the original, the OG, and it's packaged inside of this bag.
Yep.
But I think it's interesting, and I think I can fit one of each of these.
Just maybe.
Inside this big bag that you've done.
Yeah.
Very thoughtful of you, Zach. So you can fit one of, now I can't remember, you probably already said it. Will it be sold like this? Can I go on and buy, yeah, I can, right?
Yes,
like
you'll be able to go on and buy all 3 of these together in a package exactly like this. So whether or not you need, or you want 3 or 5 of these in the current configuration, if you want 3 or 5 or 10 or 100 of the rehydrations or the normal ones that we'll have a configuration offering all of those.
Okay, cool.
Including these for individual sale as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Reference cards.
Well, I think you're making it very easy for everyone. It used to be you have to do all this yourself. And I just want to get out of the way before someone in the comments, they will do it anyways. But when you're in the comments and you're thinking about how you can, sit in your basement and get on Amazon and you can source materials and you can put them together, of course you can. And if you want to do that, that's perfectly fine. If you are busy with other things in your life, sometimes the solution that's already packaged is better than the one that you have to hunt down. Also, buying bulk quantities of some of the items is kind of a pain. The packaging certainly isn't as nice, but it really takes a lot of the thought out of it. You're not going to have the reference card information is the big one for me. I'm really glad that you've solved that issue. So thanks for coming on again, Zach, and telling us about this new stuff. Excited about it. Excited to see you, punch past that first year, and you're really delivering a lot of useful stuff to the market. Thanks everyone for coming out and watching this video. If you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out, helps us keep delivering content and having guests come out. Zach, you got any last words for the people behind the lens?
Thank you again very much for having me out, for the opportunity to talk about this in front of your audience, in front of both of our customers at this point. Thank you guys again. If there's anything that we can do for you, please reach out to us directly. Email is always the best way. You can reach out for these products that will be available now at cana-provisions.com. And from there, stay safe, God bless, and respect the water.